Welcome to Space World. Let's go.
Hello? Somebody? Oh, hey, it's just you. You good, bro? And now here's our today's sponsor. Yeah! Oh, thank God I was only a nightmare. And suddenly, I'm in the mood to play some mobile games. Yep, we're gonna talk about Rayman's mobile games. Just for the iPhones. I actually thought these games were pretty good. I always felt like people were a little harsh on them, especially back when Rayman Adventures and Rayman Mini released. Like everyone was just wanting Rayman 4 and nothing else, and they're just copy and paste auto runners. I mean, sure, they're not very original, and they're just Rayman Origins and Legends, and you only move one direction, but I think it's far from being bad. In fact, I would even say it's one of the better Rayman spin-offs. I mean, I'd still take them over any of the mobile games we have nowadays. Anyways, our first game we're starting off with is Rayman Jungle Run, released back in 2012. It's a simple auto runner where your only ability is to jump and you just simply need to reach to the goal. You do unlock other moves like attacking, helicopter, and running on walls, and if you collect them all, you'll be rewarded with a skull tooth. If you get 5 of them, you'll unlock a Land of the Living Dead level. The lums are also used to unlock wallpapers. There are 7 worlds and they're all jungle themed. Yeah, not much variety in the world themes, though there are some levels with original assets. There's cave levels, levels from Mystical Peak, and even a sunset level, and that's about it. Well, I mean, it's called Rayman Jungle Run after all. Anyways, I feel like I don't have much to say about it. I think it's pretty decent. I'll give it a little too much green out of 10. Sadly, you can't play this on newer phones, and trying to boot it up will immediately send you back to the home screen. You can still play Jungle Run and Fiesta Run on PC, however it comes with a price. And since they're both designed to be played on the go, it's kinda hard to appreciate them on PC, especially when I'm playing this with a controller, and I can only use buttons. Well, alright, let's move on to Rayman Fiesta Run, released in 2014. Very much like Jungle Run, but now you play levels based on Dormant Land, and now you have teenties to save, and you'll need them to access more levels, and unlock some goodies like costumes and more lums. After beating a level, you can try the invaded levels for extra teensies, and there's an extra world called Candyland, and in the map section I found a drawing of Rayman licking a candy cane. This fills me with joy. And there's a nightmare mode where you can play all the invaded levels in order, and if you lose 1 life, it's all the way back to the first level. This was actually kinda hard. Like, making one simple mistake can easily ruin your run. I even tried using items like the gold heart and the phoenix feather, and I feel like it barely helped. Oh yeah, there's items you can use to make everything easier. It costs lums to use them. In the Ubisoft Connect version, you can use the coins that get the items permanently. I only used the magnet, but it was mostly to grind for lums for the costumes. Anyways, I wasn't able to do it. And then I learned you can cheese it by hitting retry before death, and it gives you another shot. And reaching at the end rewards you with Ray Wolf costume and 10,000 lums. You know what? I'm actually kind of surprised how good Rayman Fiesta Run is. The level design is pretty good, Candyland and Nightmare mode is fun, and there's more characters and costumes to play as. I think I enjoy this more than Jungle Run. And just a little fun fact that most of you may have already know, Edith Up was originally going to be in Fiesta Run, but ended up being cut and only her sprites remains. This makes her the only nymph to be given the Legends art style. There's also concept art where she would have appeared in Legends too. Actually, not too long ago, we've gotten early builds for both Jungle Run and Fiesta Run. We only have screenshots for them at the moment. But for Jungle Run, it has URLs that shows off artwork that isn't in the final release. One of them that has artwork of Mr. Dark, and this particular image of Glowbox. Over to Fiesta Run, it would have appeared that diamonds would have been your currency instead of lums. And EFUP does make an appearance in both the shop and the results screen when you beat a level. Now these builds have been archived, but I don't think anyone has found a way to play them on emulator. I tried Touch HLE, and the app does appear, but it crashes as soon as I boot it up. It might be possible to get it to work on an older iPhone, but I'm not sure. Alright, so let's just move on to the next game, which is Rayman 2. Originally, I wasn't gonna add this game on here, but with Touch HLE, it turns out it's pretty easy to set up, and it works really well. Or, at least version 101 works. Version 102 just crashes. So Rayman 2 on iOS is a direct port of a Dreamcast version, with the main difference being the mini games and the Glowbox Village being cut out. And now you're playing with touch controls. Yay! Okay, jokes aside, this is actually a decent port. I thought I was gonna have an issue with the touch controls, but then I remembered that Rayman 2 is one of the easiest 3D platformers ever. The only issues I have with the controls is trying to lock on. Like, you have to do a zoom in, and to get out of it, you have to pinch the screen. And it could be that I'm using a Retroid Pocket Mini, so I'm dealing with a smaller screen here, but I have a hard time trying to get out of the lock on, and I kinda had to mess with the screen just to get out of it. And I decided not to bother with it. I mean, it's not like you really need it. Like, sure, I won't be able to move around while charging my fist, but the pirate's health seems to be reduced in this version, so it's not that bad. Also, I'm not sure if this has been brought up, but I'm seen to be able to play this with controller. Like, what the heck? This emulator has controller support? I even tried it on PC, and it's the same thing here. Heck, even diving that's only shown when you're in water is assigned to its own button. But I chose to play with touch controls anyways. I did run into some graphical glitches, like Lee's got a new hairstyle. But aside from that, I enjoyed this a lot more than the DS and 3DS version. Oh yeah, fun fact, this port was originally gonna have completely different music made by Alexandra Jacob, but ended up using the original music instead. There is a video online that shows off how the music would have turned out to be. It's only for the intro, but you should check it out if you're interested. Gee, is it time for me to beat Rayman 1 again? This is Rayman Classic, a port of the PC version of Rayman 1, released in 2016. So I guess that kinda makes this a 20th anniversary release. Actually, in fact, both this and the 30th anniversary edition are released in the same month. And unlike the Game Boy Advance and DSi version, the iOS port is pretty close to the PC version. The intro and ending are kept the way they are, the little cutscenes after being a boss is here, and even the breakout minigame is here too. And of course, you're playing this with touch controls. Okay, yeah, I know, a game like this with touch controls is rough. I mean, I don't like it either, but I can tolerate with it. For me, it depends on the game and how the touch controls are handled. You know, I noticed in some games, the circle pad is stuck in the bottom left corner, and my thumb gets tired of being in the same spot after a while. But for Rayman Classic, the circle pad changes position whenever you touch on screen, meaning I can just do simple swipes and I don't really have to worry about my thumb placement. Now, I heard the iOS version has controller support, though I haven't tried it myself, and that's because I only really play this game when I'm out in public. Oh yeah, I forgot, this port also has quality of life improvements, such as a difficult setting, having easy mode gives you 99 lives and always have 5 health, and I'm not sure why there's a hard mode. It's literally just normal mode, except you start with 1 life. And they also got rid of the save points on the map, and that's because this game auto-saves when you beat a level. I know the quality of life improvements doesn't seem that helpful since you're playing on an iPhone, but personally I can think of worse ways to play this game. And even then, I still think it's one of the better ports of a game. Heck, it's the only Rayman game on my phone that actually works and I don't need online to play it. But alright, I think that's enough with the ports. Let's see what's next. Here's the third mobile game, Rayman Adventures. And unlike the previous mobile games, this is free to play. And this time, Rayman starts out with a new outfit, the Adventure outfit. Well, I mean, it looks pretty good, but as his default outfit, nah, I'll take the OG. The Adventure outfits for the other characters, on the other hand, yeah, they look great. And this one does have a story. The Living Stones are stealing the ancient eggs from a sacred tree. Then they take the eggs to their flying ship, but one egg managed to escape. And from here, you get to choose whether you want to play as Rayman or Barbara. And, unlike its previous titles, you can actually control your character. So your job is to save the eggs, and inside of them are creatures called Incrediballs. And each one you save will help the sacred tree to grow. There are 3 types of Incrediballs. You got the Seekers that helps you find secret areas and collectibles. The Inhalers are used like a magnet to grab lumps easier. And the Protectors will make you invincible for a short period if you get hit. You'll also be traveling the world with this guy, the Captain. Does he have a name? Nobody remembers his real name. I like him. So the worlds you go through are based off of Rayman Legends, with one original world called Wild Wild East. When you finish beating levels in the area, you'll get an egg, and you put it on a nest and you wait for it to hatch. And these eggs takes forever to hatch. It takes 8 hours for them to hatch. I was in high school when this game came out, so basically I had to wait a whole day for the eggs to hatch. There is an item that can speed up the process, but it only reduces the time by 30 minutes. I mean, at that point, you might as well just save them up. It doesn't help that there's fake or armor eggs, and you only get items out of it. However, I do believe they've updated the time down to 4 hours, and honestly, I feel like it should have been like that from the start. One of the things I did like about Adventures back in the day were the events. They would have these little collectibles used for currency. You can find them in the map world, and even some scatter around the tree. With them, you can get Incrediballs exclusive for the event, and exclusive costumes. And let me tell you, Adventures has the best costumes out of all the UbiArt Rayman games. They even added rabbits as enemies hidden in the levels for the events, to get more of those collectibles. And the Land of the Living Dead challenge from Rayman Legends is here. This was great until they stopped doing events, and they put up ads whenever you beat a level. They also had a Rayman channel section where you get to check out people's fan art, and comics and artworks from the devs. They would even show off Rayman being put into other games, like Mega Man, Sonic, The Legend of Zelda, and Super Smash Bros. And they also show off this movie poster. Ah yes, Fat Man vs. Super Rayman. And Wonder Woman is there too. Adventures also marks the 20th anniversary of the series, and we got a few things off of it, like this memorial showing off the history, and little neat facts for each of the games. That's kinda neat. Biggest baddies: Mr. Dark, Big Mama, some boss from Legends. Did you find him? Mosquito makes an appearance in Beyond Good and Evil. Fairies, Batilla, Lee, and Unbele Calais. That's her French name. And there was a I Love Rayman video contest, where fans get to make a video to show off their appreciation of the series. The prize for winning the contest is a medallion that shows Rayman wearing sunglasses. Unfortunately for Rayman Adventures, the servers were shut down on June 26, 2023. While I can still technically play the game, I'm pretty much stuck on this island. And it's because I need online to hatch the egg to continue to the next adventure. You know, when you put it like that, a creature being trapped in an egg like this is actually horrible. It really sucks, because back when this came out, some Rayman fans weren't really fond of it. I mean, sure, playing the same levels gets boring, and I barely use the Incrediballs other than the inhalers. I ended up stacking a bunch of meat because of it. Apart from that, I never felt like the game was pay to win. I mean, maybe using the gems to revive yourself in the Land of the Living Dead challenge, and using the gems to instantly hatch the eggs, but that's about it. Otherwise, I really like Rayman Adventures, and now that you can't play this anymore, I feel like a lot of people miss out on it. Really, my only problem with it is that it literally could have worked perfectly fine as an offline game. That's the thing I don't like about these single-player online games. Like, I feel like the games themselves are fine, but it's the online acquirements and microtransaction that ruins it for me. Like, why even bother getting an attachment to these games when I know they're probably gonna disappear in a few years? The only free-to-play game that I actually wanted to play but didn't get a chance to is Pac-Man Monsters. It's like a puzzle RPG, and it has this really cool art style that none of the other Pac-Man games has. It had a lot of cool original characters, and even some characters and references from other Pac-Man games. From the footage I've seen of it, honestly, it looks kinda cheap and the puzzle gameplay doesn't seem that interesting, but man, I would play this just for the art style alone. The only people who knows about Pac-Man Monsters are a handful of Pac-Man fans. And the reason you haven't heard of this game is likely due to the fact that the game didn't even last a year. So yeah, this game is just another example of good art being wasted on a mobile game. Okay, sorry I got sidetracked there, I just really wanted to talk about that game. I actually do miss Rayman Adventures, and I feel like I regret not reaching to Adventure 1000. It would be nice to have an offline version of the game. Or heck, I would even take a plus version like how some of the other mobile games got for Apple Arcade, even if I really don't want to pay for a subscription. I think there's some fans that are trying to make a revival, though I haven't seen any news for it recently. Before we go to the last mobile game, there's a few extras to go through. We got Rayman Legends Beatbox. This was made a little before Rayman Legends. There's a few things you can do in this. If you go to Legendary mode, you can select one of the 3 songs from the game and turn on and off the samples. That's fun. Or you can create your own music. Just take the many examples to choose from and drag them to one of the 6 slots. Okay, this is what I came up with. Perfect. Yeah, that's all there is to it. And Beatbox has been shut down for a while, but recently fans brought it back to life. You can actually play this on your internet browser, or even download it on Android. There was also Ubisoft Nano, which I thought was lost media, but I guess not. It's pretty much a bunch of Flash games you can play on browser and mobile devices. They have Rayman's Incredibles Dodge. You play as the Incredibles, and play against other players and try to be the last one standing. You can also buy other Incredibles that each have their own abilities, like make items last longer or get more lumps. And for some reason Rayman is playable and he has 3 abilities. And there aren't any other Incredibles that has more than 3. Yeah, okay, that's fair. Rayman is also playable in Brawlhalla Grand Slam. And there's Ubisoft All-Stars Blast. It's literally a cheap Bomberman clone but with Ubisoft characters. They even include Aurora from Child of Light. Ah yes, Rayman from Rayman Origins. Bro! What is your deal? And there was also that time Rayman crossed over the Soul Hunters. Yeah, I know, it's not a Rayman game, but I'm doing this because there doesn't seem to be a lot of gameplay footage of people using Rayman. Look, I know it seems like I'm stalling, and it's most likely that none of you care about this, but damn it, someone's gotta do it. So yeah, they put Rayman in this back in 2017. They also did the same with Prince of Persia and Ezio from Assassin's Creed. It's an idle RPG where you set 5 characters and you kinda just watch them fight. Well, at least it's something different than an auto runner this time. Rayman has a few moves you can unlock. He's got his classic Charge Fist. It does a decent amount of damage and pushes enemies back. He can jump on enemies and does a ground pound on the last jump. And depending how many stars he has, he'll do that many jumps. And the more jumps he performs, the stronger the ground pound gets. Though he can only do 2 jumps for 1 enemy. So if there's 2 enemies out on field, he's only going to do 4 jumps. He can also gain a heart for doing 7 jumps. So if his health reaches to 0, the heart will give him a little bit of health back. And lastly, there's his ultimate move. When the yellow bar is full, Rayman will bring out a blue glove. And it just makes his punches do extra damage. Though if he uses it again, the glove turns red, which does a little more damage and adds a fire effect. Oh yeah, he also looks like this. Well, his design in the card looks okay, I guess. I'd say he's pretty decent, at least if you're using him in the main campaign. But for facing off other players online, yeah, he's actually mid. And no surprise, this game is pay to win BS. Rayman doesn't stand a chance against newer heroes. I probably have like the strongest Rayman and he's sometimes usually the first one to die. His attacks just doesn't do enough damage to make him worth being on the team. Yeah, I don't know. He feels really out of place here. I just think it's interesting that they put Rayman in an RPG game like this, of all things. Unfortunately for Soul Hunters, the servers has been shut down since July 2025. Actually, thank God. I was getting so sick of that game anyways. Okay, fine. I'll talk about Rayman Mini. Rayman Mini released in 2019, and it is only for Apple Arcade. A lot of people were upset when this was announced, including myself. In fact, I believe this is the game that started the whole Rayman IP needs to be sold to a different company discussion. I don't know, I got my vote on way forward. I am aware the game has been archived, but I've already gotten the footage I needed. If downloading it means I have to do everything again, then I'm good. I used up my free trial to play this, so I hope you appreciate the effort I went into making this video. Okay, so I'm gonna be real with you. I don't like Rayman Mini. I know that's funny to say when a lot of people were upset about it being another mobile game, but no, I've played it and I did not enjoy it. The story is only shown in the trailer. The Flame Tainty randomly decided to shrink Rayman, an adventure where you get to play as Rayman Small? Wow, that's never been done before. Like, what do you want me to say at this point? It's the same stuff we went through with Jungle Run and Fiesta Run. Only now it has different environments like this grassy field, an underground area, and tree. That's pretty much it. They brought back the Electoons too, and they're bald for some reason. They have bosses, well, not really. You're just playing a normal level, but now there's a big enemy, and you don't really fight them, you just dodge their attacks, and get to the goal like any other level. Yeah. But later the game gets some added content. So Rayman Mini pretty much went from a lackluster follow-up to Jungle Run and Fiesta Run to now it just feels like a Diet Rayman Legends. They have the challenges much like in Legends, and now you get gems, and getting a certain amount of gems will unlock costumes and level up your awesomeness. They have the music levels, but it's the same music from Legends, and the level design is not sync up too well with the music. There's also harder difficulties that has those terrible screen effects. And lastly, Mr. Dark has returned, and he's got contract challenges for you. Each of the contracts has 3 little challenges. It could be things like free all the teensies and beat the level, do a marathon and try to beat a number of levels without dying, or reach a certain distance in challenge mode. Completing a contract will give you an egg that has Incredibles, and they work like they do with the creatures in Legends. And it was fine for a while, until I started needing to get the gold eggs. Like, you know the screen effects from the music levels? Well, they have them in the harder contracts, and I argue they're much worse here. I don't even bother with the extreme difficulty, because it always has the marathon. I mean, beating a couple of levels without dying and having screen effects would be manageable, if they didn't throw a f***ing music level in the middle of it. Like, okay, like, just look at the gameplay on screen here. Like, do you even see what's going on here? And the thing about the eggs is that it's not guaranteed you'll get a new Incredible. So I just been doing the same contract that gives you a golden egg every day, as long as it doesn't include a marathon. And when you level up your awesomeness, Mr. Dark will be all like,
Your awesomeness level, it's so high. I shall increase the difficulty by adding more crappy screen effects.
I'm not gonna lie, all this mode has done is just hurt my eyes. Rayman Mini is the weakest one for me. I find it to be so painfully average. I didn't enjoy it much like the other mobile games. It was pretty disappointing actually. And you could say to me, well, Hyperness, at least this one has original assets, unlike the other mobile games that copy and pastes the assets from Origins and Legends. But honestly, I feel like that just makes it more disappointing. The thing about these mobile games is that they're just harmless spin-offs. They didn't really need to have a story or be the most original thing ever. Even if they are just reusing the same assets from the console games, they can still be fun in their own right. Plus, these games were released around when Origins and Legends came out. Mini released 4 years after Adventures. Like, we waited 4 years just to get another mobile game. Rayman Mini really doesn't do anything new. Even the idea of going on an adventure being small isn't that interesting, because Rayman can turn small in almost every game. Half the time, I barely even notice I'm small throughout the game, and this could have been a good opportunity to bring out the ant soldiers that were cut enemies from Rayman Origins, and they didn't even do that. And to top it off, the story is confusing and it only makes me want to ask questions. Why is the Flame Teensy evil when he was a playable character in the other games? Where has Mr. Dark been all this time? And why is this only on Apple Arcade? This could have just been a $3 app and I wouldn't mind paying for it. I don't know, maybe I'm being harsh, but I just didn't get much out of Rayman Mini. I think the only thing I like about it is some of the memes we've gotten out of it. So yeah, I think that's everything. It kinda sucks that these games are delisted. Like, sure, getting a mobile game isn't the most exciting thing to get, but at least it gave us something to do, and it's better than getting nothing. I just wish they would do something other than an autorunner. To be honest, I feel like we could use some more simpler handheld games that's actually fun to play. Seems like a lot of games nowadays are too big to even bother with, but that could just be me. Anyways, that's it for me, so I'll see you all later. Wait, it's July? What the hell?